Coming up, a love affair with a classic older lady, drones to the rescue in rural areas, another self-flying Uber testing in New Zealand. AOPA Live This Week begins in just a moment.
Build and flying with the Sonex Aircraft B models. The B models offer more room and comfort, more fuel, more panel space, more engine choices, and the same great Sonex Aircraft flight characteristics. Learn more at sonexaircraft.com.
This is AOPA Live This Week with Tom Haynes and Melissa Rudinger.
Welcome to AOPA Live This Week. Melissa Rudinger is on assignment. The FAA will technically cease to exist at the end of this month. That's when its latest authorization expires. So is Congress going to fix this?
Congress is going to consider what they call an omnibus appropriation that will fund the government for the remainder of this fiscal year. And it's most likely that a 4-month extension of the FAA programs will be included in that bill. That's the legal authority that will allow the FAA to operate.
So much for the short term, but is there something in the works to allow FAA to get back to a regular schedule? Jim says now that privatization is off the table, Congress is ready to take some significant action.
There's really a consensus on both the House and the Senate that everyone wants to get a long-term bill done.
Jim says some of the holdups in the Senate have been eliminated, and he thinks everything will be put to bed before the August recess. And there are some things that AOPA is working to get included into that legislation.
What the focus is going to be on now is how we can modernize, how we can ensure there's oversight and management tools put in place to ensure that the FAA stays on track, on time, and on budget to move modernization forward. And that's the kind of things that we're going to be working towards, in addition to some other things like ensuring that our airports are adequately funded and that we develop public-private partnerships to help ease some of the stress on local communities, designate certain airports around the country as disaster relief airports.
A busy agenda for your AOPA staff on Capitol Hill. So privatizing air traffic control is on the back burner for the moment, but problems with privatizing aviation infrastructure are popping up around the world. Aviation Daily is reporting on a speech by Lufthansa's CEO. He says privatizing European airports has been a bad deal. The major airport owners are working for themselves, not for the benefit of the airlines and passengers. He says major hubs in the U.S. are more efficient than the privatized airports in Europe because they aren't, quote, trying to maximize returns for pension funds. Newsflash, Duets is dead. The FAA says it's not going to renew the contract for 2 vendors to provide online weather briefings. It's a cost savings measure, they say. But hey, that doesn't mean online weather briefings are going away. You'll still be able to brief and file flight plans online through the Leidos flight service system. You can sign up for that at 1-800-WXBrief.com. And you'll still be able to use third-party vendors like 4Flight or AOPA Go, many of which already provide briefings via the Leidos service. If you've been using CRSA as your data source, you'll need to switch it to Leidos before Duets shuts down on May 16th. AOPA will provide an easy way to make the switch in the AOPA apps. Of course, you can still pick up the phone as always and call flight service, which is also provided by Leidos. More progress in the push to get safety-enhancing avionics from the experimental market into type-certificated airplanes. Dynon just received FAA approval to install the Skyview HDX and Cessna 172s. The avionics suite allows pilots to remove the majority of legacy avionics and vacuum pumps. The Skyview HDX includes important safety enhancements like synthetic vision, angle of attack, and advanced engine monitoring. Cost for the Skyview on a 172 will be around $18,000, not including installation. Dynon expects more aircraft models to be approved soon. Garmin is now shipping their G500 and G600 TXI flight displays. The new design just received FAA and EASA approval. The TXI displays offer faster processing and more gesture options on the touchscreens. They can be used as primary flight displays, multifunction displays, or for engine information. The displays come in 2 sizes, either 7 inches or 10.6 inches. Cost for a G500 TXI starts just under $12,000. Cessna says it has completed initial wind tunnel testing of its new Sky Courier. The twin-engine turboprop is designed for cargo and commuter operations. Cessna put a precision model in the wind tunnel with small electric motors turning the props. That's to simulate thrust produced by the real aircraft. Cessna says the Sky Courier will fly in 2019 and enter service in 2020, and FedEx has 50 of the big turboprops on order. Meanwhile, the GE turboprop engine for Cessna's other new airplane design, the Denali, just got a new name. GE is calling it the Catalyst. GE says the engine acts as a catalyst in an industry that has seen little new technology in decades. It is the first new clean sheet turboprop for general aviation in over 30 years, they say. It uses advanced technology from GE's commercial engines, and the Catalyst will power the Cessna Denali, a new single-engine turboprop that will seat up to 11 passengers and crew. And now to something a little more old school. AOPA pilot editor Ian Twombly recently caught up with a Pennsylvania pilot who has fallen completely in love with a 72-year-old lady. That would be his Fairchild 24.
Standing in front of my 1946 Fairchild 24. It's a 4-seat high-wing aircraft. Fairchild produced the 24 series from 1937 to 1947. I joke and tell people I have OAD, old airplane disease, and my requirements for a restoration is tube and fabric. It's got to have a stick, and it definitely has to have wood in it. When I got a phone call initially from the previous owner, he described it as a project that was ready to cover. And for obvious reasons, that was pretty attractive because there's a lot of structure, a lot of wood involved with this aircraft. Looked at the project, it wasn't ready to cover, but it was a good, complete project. Obviously, it needed a lot of work. The restoration, the total process from the moment I got home till first flight was about a little over 5 years and a little over 5,000 hours. First flight, it was so exciting that I don't remember it that much. The aircraft jumped into the air, and I was at probably 2,000, 2,500 feet before I even knew it. The flight itself was unbelievable. It's a very classy aircraft. It's kind of got that Art Deco feel from the Fairchild Pegasus that's on the step as you get in the cockpit to the Fairchild logo on the rudder pedals. It's just a very overall classy aircraft. I guess this is kind of cliche to say, but it's really kind of a love affair. When I get in it, I just fall in love with it all over again. It's such an honest flying aircraft. You know, you can roll the windows down, stick your elbow out, and just enjoy your flight. But really, what I enjoy most these days, my little guy who's 11 has a strong desire to learn to fly, and getting him at the controls and watching him fly is pretty special. So fly an airplane that I restored.
What a classic airplane. You can read more about the Fairchild 24 in the April issue of AOPA Pilot Magazine. And we have something fun coming up next week, the 3rd annual AOPA RA Bob Hoover Trophy. Last year's recipient was air show luminary Sean D. Tucker. This year, well, it's somebody you'll know. You'll just have to watch to find out. We'll be broadcasting live from historic Terminal A in Reagan National Airport. You can tune in Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. The link is aopa.org/Hoover Trophy. We hope you can join us. But in just a few moments, yet another contender in the person-sized air taxi drone competition, and drones to the rescue in rural areas. You're watching AOPA Live this week.
There are many important things to consider before purchasing an aircraft. Let the experts at Aerospace Reports help guide you through the process. We combine expert knowledge with our long-standing commitment to personalized customer service to perfect your transaction. Learn more at aerospacereports.com.
Welcome back. So think about this. An airport uses your tax dollars to build a transient ramp. Then the airport gives an FBO an exclusive lease to that parking area, and the FBO says it can now do whatever it wants to do and charge whatever it wants. It doesn't have to give you reasonable access to the parking ramp you paid for. That's the bottom line response from Signature Flight Support to AOPA's Part 13 complaints to the FAA about monopolistic pricing at Key West, Florida and Asheville, North Carolina airports. AOPA doesn't agree, of course, and AOPA is prepared to push this to the next level to get a binding decision from the FAA that would force the two airports to provide public access at a reasonable cost. It's a complicated issue for sure. You can get into the details on our website, and if you think you've encountered unreasonable fees at a public airport, we want to know about it. Tell us about it at aopa.org/FBO fees. Remote pilots certificated under Part 107 will soon get easier access to controlled airspace near airports starting next month. The FAA is fast-tracking low-altitude authorization and notification capability called LANC. The agency has gridded off Class B, C, and D airspace, defining areas where drones can fly with permission. And soon, remote pilots will be able to apply to use apps to make the request and get an answer within just a few minutes. The LANC system will first be available in the South Central region. But NATO has some concerns about such authorization systems. One military official recently said that while shared data among pilots, air traffic control, drone operators, and airports would improve operational safety, it could also open security threats. And here's something else regulators and policymakers are starting to think about concerning drones. Who's going to pay for their use of the airspace? Here in the U.S., manned aircraft pay for FAA operations with fuel taxes and ticket taxes. Drone operators pay nothing. Just something that we're thinking about as the drone world continues to grow. And drone technology is increasingly making its way into futuristic-looking manned aircraft. You may remember the Kitty Hawk Flyer from AirVenture last summer. That aircraft is all about having fun, like flying a jet ski, sorta. Now Kitty Hawk is venturing into the world of personal transportation. The company just released the first video of the new Cora air taxi in flight. The fully autonomous aircraft uses 12 motors to take off vertically, and then it transitions to forward flight powered by a pusher motor that's also electric. Kitty Hawk is based in California, but the company is testing Cora in New Zealand. It's one of the many recent designs to come out hoping to fulfill the dream of an affordable air taxi accessible to everyone. And as drones become more prevalent, they are taking a larger role in helping people. AOPA Senior Features Editor Julie Walker has the story about a drone consulting company that equips emergency agencies with life-saving technology.
Drones are helping first responders to save lives in rural Alabama. Blount County uses drones to help with a variety of emergencies.
We thought the best way to be able to get those critical eyes where we needed them during emergency situations was to purchase a drone.
For help, Blount County turned to Skyfire, a consultant and reseller of drones focusing on public safety.
And our big selling point is that we are a one-stop shop. So we do turnkey programs where you come to us with no knowledge and we can get you set up with the right equipment, all the training, all the FAA authorizations that you need.
Former CNN producer and EMT Matt Sloan established Skyfire after conducting a program for first responders on how CNN uses drones to cover news stories. He leaned on pilot Ben Kroll, a former Cirrus instructor for the aviation side of things, realizing that safety is just as important for UAS as it is for manned aircraft.
We like to impress upon them how this is like flying an aircraft and to apply some of those things that we learn in manned aviation.
The drones can be equipped with a variety of cameras and other payloads like life rafts. Rural communities especially benefit, using drones for missions like search and rescue, fire safety, and more.
It's a force multiplier. And so, when Caleb goes out and responds to a call, or one of these departments that work with Caleb go out and respond to a call, there may only be 2 or 3 people there initially. And being able to put the drone up in the air can quickly give them information and intelligence that they wouldn't be able to get that quickly.
Drones have proven their value as a life-saving tool in Blount County and communities like it across the country.
We get really, really excited, and I think it hits home for us when, we see a news story and it's one of our clients who they took the drone out last night and they found a missing person. The communities have been improved, lives have been saved from the incorporation of this technology.
Julie Walker, AOPA Live.
Rural communities aren't the only ones helped by drones. Skyfire also works in urban areas with clients like the Los Angeles Fire Department. And that'll do it for us this week. We hope you can tune in Wednesday night for a live broadcast of the 3rd annual R.A. Bob Hoover Trophy presentation. You'll be surprised by who's there. And we'll be back here again next Thursday for another edition of AOPA Live This Week.
Purchasing your own aircraft is an exciting experience. AOPA Finance simplifies the process, saving you money with lower interest rates and hassle-free loans, so you get into your new aircraft sooner. AOPA Finance, the right approach to buying an aircraft.